Well, a sexologist, what does that mean? That means I spend a whole lot of time talking about sex and almost no time actually having it.
Hi, I'm Tracy.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is She's on Top. This is a place where we share motivational stories and fantastic business advice from successful women entrepreneurs.
If you haven't already subscribed, please do so now because we would love to have you as part of the community. And also, when you subscribe, make sure you hit on the bell icon because that's how you'll get notifications of our videos.
Today we're talking with sexologist Jessica O'Reilly. Not about sex, but about being an entrepreneur.
That's right, we're going to take her out of the bedroom because what we want to learn about is how she built this incredibly successful career as a public speaker.
Jess has delivered speeches in 35 countries to hundreds of thousands of people. That TED Talk, by the way, entitled Monogomish, has already got over 2.5 million views.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, and it's amazing because as passionate and successful as Jess is as a speaker, she still struggles. Like every woman, like every entrepreneur, and you might be surprised to find out what she struggles with.
I was a high school teacher and I saw the cost of a failing sex education system with young people coming to me in unhealthy relationships, abusive relationships with unplanned pregnancy. And I said, I've got to go back and do some research in this area to support teachers. So I went back to do my doctoral work in human sexuality and education. And when I graduated, of course, there's no job for somebody with a degree in my field, so I had to create a job. So I started writing, I started speaking, I started working in television and fell into the field of sexology. We have a history of entrepreneurship in my family. So we're Chinese from Jamaica, and my grandpa started a bakery and we call it a macaroni factory, but they made pasta. My dad is Irish Catholic, like all fathers of a good sexologist. And my mom is Chinese Jamaican. So I grew up in Canada with more of a Chinese and Jamaican influence. I've been with my husband for 17 years, and Brendan actually works with me a little. He has his own thing, his own company, but he is on the podcast with me. And that's brought a new dimension to the brand, but also to the way I feel about working in this business. Having my husband, having Brendan by my side, changes everything. I feel a little bit more confident. I feel more in my own skin and more willing to open up, which obviously I think makes the lessons or the education I'm trying to provide a little bit richer and more fruitful. When I was still in school, my very first paying client was Desire Resorts. They invited me down to come do some workshops for their couples, and I didn't even have a website, I didn't have a business card, so I had to put it all together because I had this international brand with a fairly decent mailing list showing up. So I put together the website, and as soon as I put together the website, I started blogging. And as soon as I started blogging, that's when radio stations, TV stations started calling. And not long after, PlayboyTV saw some of my videos and said, we want you to come host this show. I did a Skype audition, and within 5 days, I was in LA on set, hosting a show on PlayboyTV. I relaunched about 6 or so years ago as Sex with Dr. Jess. One of the biggest challenge, of course, is that I have sex in the brand, and this is why we're transitioning yet again from Sex with Dr. Jess to Happier Couples, because I do spend a lot more time talking about relationships than sex itself, and I'm just a little bit more passionate about relationships. Speaking and retreats is definitely my favorite part of my business because you're connecting with people in real life, in the flesh. So yes, they're learning from me, but I'm learning from them. So it's a huge opportunity. And I love the interaction. I love feeling their energy. I love seeing the surprise on their face. I even like seeing the confusion because I think, okay, something isn't resonating here. How can I tweak it? People often wonder why you'd want a sex and relationship expert to speak to either your corporate group or to your executive board or to entrepreneurs. And the answer is, if you're gonna do well in one area of your life, you also wanna cultivate success in other areas. There is no point in making a ton of money. There's no point in building a huge business if you hate your partner, if your partner and you have entirely lost connection, if you don't know your kids. So top performing people in business tend to also want to be top performing in their relationships. And I don't like to see it as a performance, but they do realize that they have to invest in their relationships if they want to make it work. Everyone struggles with their relationships, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're working for a corporation. I think entrepreneurs face a very specific struggle because you carry the weight of your business entirely on your shoulders. We promote this brand via content, and we are content pumping machines. So I'm on global television's The Morning Show every week, and we take that content and we repurpose it into a video blog, text on the blog, usually some Insta stories, an Instagram post. Oftentimes we'll do an Insta Live related to the appearance, and that's just one appearance. I've written 4 books: The New Sex Bible, Hot Sex Tips, Tricks, and Licks, The Little Book of Kink, and The Oral Sex Tech. That is a mouthful. I wrote all of those books for one publisher in the span of about 20 months. So it was a lot of writing, and writing is not fun, it's not sexy. You're literally just sitting there typing on your computer, and then all of a sudden this manuscript gets transformed into a book, which is kind of a magical process. And you know, they're not New York Times best-selling books, but they've sold very well, and they've been not only a source of revenue, but a very important source of branding for me, because when somebody buys my book, they're taking my brand into their home. I think all entrepreneurs want to quit at some point. We tend to have these highs and lows where we really think we can take over the world, and when we're like, we're totally imposters, we don't know what we're doing. When people either objectify me or I think invalidate all the hard work I put in, it's easy to want to walk away. It's also hard being in the public eye. I think some people are really made for it, and even though I'm really comfortable on camera and comfortable on radio, that doesn't mean that I'm made for it. Truthfully, I have a really cool job. I fly all over the world and give speeches in castles. Like, I really can't complain. But the other piece is that I know I am helping people. You know, people come up to me and tell me, or send me a message and tell me that a conversation they heard on the podcast changed the way they relate to their partner. I had a woman on the street, I won't say the city, but in the streets of a beautiful old European city hugging me because she had learned to have her first orgasm, because she had learned to ask for what she wanted. So when you're helping people, of course you feel relevant and it feels good and you want to keep going.
Thanks for watching.
And once again, if you haven't subscribed, please do so now, because we really do need your comments. We want you to be part of this conversation.
Yeah, like for example, I also, like Jess O'Reilly, struggle with being in the public eye, especially being on camera. As you can tell, I'm not as good as Jess and being on camera. I'm a little bit more stiff.
But you're getting better.
Yes, I'm trying.
And I have different struggles. Probably those will come up with other videos. And we're curious, what are some of the things that you guys struggle with in your careers? Let us know.